In question number 8, you state there were some reports that technocracy had in mind the use of physical force Chicago, 1933 to accomplish their goal. We know of no such meeting in April of 1933, in Chicago. It did not exist. There has never been any statement from technocracy that force ever was contemplated. We have stated at the very beginning we would never ask the public of this continent to engage in either ballots or bullets. That has always been our basic proposition. Technocracy Incorporated is not a political party. It does not run candidates for political office, nor does it accept for membership anyone who is a member or officer of any political party, right, left or center. Voting is not construed as membership in a political party. Technocracy Incorporated is in the nature of a membership organization, of social consultants. Its basic concepts and design are really an attempt to found a science of geomechanics, a science of how to operate large areas of this Earth's surface, beneath and above. United States has in excess of 12 billion horsepower of installed prime movers in use today. Only 7% of that 12 billion are in use in all manufacturing, mining, railroading, and central stations. Approximately 93% are in automotive vehicles. If the amount of percentage of prime movers in use in all production and physical distribution were doubled, there would be 20 million adult human beings in the United States who would no longer be required in the production and distribution of so-called physical wealth in these United States. It wasn't Marxian communism that stopped the advance of the fascist armies of Western Europe and Russia from 1941 to 1945, it was the application of modern technology to their productivity and military equipment. They lost 10 years in their doctrinaire systematic conflicts within their party and their administration. If they had had the advantage of 10 years of planned technology, one could only contemplate that their technology would have been so effective that there would have been no fascist residue left to stir up further conflicts in all of Western Europe. Understand, human toil and hand tools, from at least Hammurabi's time about the 19th century, BC down to the present time, the annual increment of physical production, under human toil and hand tools was so small that it required a century to amortize the principal and interest of any major debt. Therefore, without technology, there would be no possibility of any social renovation, only a perpetuation of human toil and hand tools. The capital reinvestment rate under human toil and hand tools occurred once in a century. Today, in the United States we have technological equipment that, if operated at 75% capacity or more, will amortize out its total indebtedness in 5 1/4 weeks, thereby rendering possible a capital reinvestment rate of 964 times in a century. Technocracy Incorporated has seen the need for designing the operating system in any social mechanism of tomorrow when the total number of energy-consuming devices compels the reorientation of the entire operating factors of a continent-wide social system. To merely expropriate the exploiting and owning classes is merely a change of legal title and one in this technological age of unimportance and futility. There is nothing, whether it is railroads, transportation, highways, power transmission, continental hydrology, pollution, soil erosion, sewage, machines for living, there is not a single design proposition today that would have validity tomorrow. There is no sense taking over the ownership of such obsolescence. You would be compelled to operate the obsolescent antiquity under the same losses, the same headaches and same defeats as they do today. It is only when the load factors of operations and complete design are altered according to energy factors that a resultant comes about which would be beyond the dreams of all social philosophers, one wherein the planned operation of the whole is many times greater than the sum of its parts. Technocracy, not being a political party or a conspiratorial body, has never had any intention or any wish to assume power, political power that is, in this price system. We have never had and never will have any theory of assumption of political power. After all, the consulting engineers that design the great suspension bridges, or any other work, do not make the working drawings, nor do they fabricate any of the materials. The design materials are fabricated by different organizations or erecting companies, who erect the structure. But the orders today are given by the fiat power and economic power of the political state and its dominant interests. technocracy has proposed the design of almost every component of a large-scale social system. True, it would require a technological orchestration of all physical operating factors, but a technological socialization is far more reaching, more drastic and more pervasive than anything that Marx or any socialist ever thought of. So, as you continue in your study of technocracy, you will find that it is incorrect to view us as being in any way analogous to any party or political philosophy, or to any agitators of social change for any reason whatsoever. We have never advocated social change. We have pointed out the factors that would create it and have come pretty close to predicting its arrival, but that is an entirely different thing than advocating social change per se, for social change's sake. You will find it extremely difficult to change from sociologic and economic thinking to one of technocracy. It is well to realize here and now that technocracy, like science, has no truth. Truth is a philosophic absolute, while in technocracy all things are relative. We are concerned with the consumption and control of energy and the energy-consuming devices and their resultant production and consumption, which are all measurable, and have nothing whatsoever to do with truth or philosophic values. You will find that all the values that you or any other person have acquired regarding culture, art and the humanities, may be interesting to talk about, but have little use in designing any comprehensive system of tomorrow that can be controlled. We are not talking now of police control, we are talking of technological control. Nor do we mean regulation. Regulation, of course, comes in after the origination, after something is started, but control comes in at the beginning or origination. The subjective entities of personal living are undoubtedly better in the United States of 1964 than they are in many parts of the world and, of course, much better than they were 64 years ago. It is always interesting to be able to engage in interminable discussions regarding this, but the problems that United States faces have been cumulative and are no longer soluble by the considered opinion of conscientious, right-thinking people. The considerations of yesterday regarding the conduct of human affairs dealt with, primarily, the regulation or coercion of the behavior of human beings so as to promote a stable society of their time. Therefore, all social systems of the past have been governments of men over men, of laws not physical laws, legal for preferred exploitation of human beings in the national resources of their area. With the technological application of physical science involving ever-increasing energy-consuming devices and technological equipment, the system of tomorrow will be a system of operation and control of energy and things, wherein decisions will have to be rendered as the closest approximation of the next most probable energy state, made at the speed of energy transmission and not awaiting the deliberation of one good man and true, or 1,000. Their deliberations would take too long, and the mechanism would be out of control. This is being ironically brought home every day in the corporate world of the present, especially those that install the latest computers. Computers can solve practically all of the problems of the corporate entity, except the most urgent one, that of finding someone who can ask the computer an intelligent question that involves direction and design. Thanking you for your interest, I remain very truly yours, Technocracy Incorporated. Howard Scott, Director-in-Chief.